Once upon a time, my voice sounded a bit more like this, whereas now it sounds like this. This video is about my personal timeline experience of trans voice. I provide examples of what my voice used to sound like, plus the little tips I tried to do along the way, both what did and did not work. Join me in this journey today in how I did a trans voice good. Alright, let's get one thing clear right off the bat. I did experience a testosterone-based puberty. As a result, my voice dropped. I had to consult YouTube tutorials to figure out how to change my voice. Back in the 2010s, there weren't that many trans voice tutorials to choose from like there are today. At the time, we're all too busy playing Kinect Star Wars, you had to just be there. However, when I searched for the tutorials available at the time, the first one I remember watching was one by Vera Wild. Vera Wild is a YouTuber that made various tutorials to help crossdressers present more feminine. I didn't really know the difference between crossdresser and trans at the time because I was like 12 or something. So as a result, these tutorials were super helpful for me in various ways, such as dressing femme, wearing skirts, makeup, that kind of thing. Now, the information presented in these girl voice tutorials haven't exactly aged amazing. However, let's take a look at the main takeaways I took at the time. These were: sing girl songs. I find this pretty self-explanatory, but I just didn't think of it at the time. And the second one, talk like a stereotypical flamboyant gay male. Okay, yeah, that didn't age perfectly. However, it's worth noting that A, it was a different time. B, the tips actually ended up helping me in some ways. Here are the ways that it ended up helping. A, it actually made me feel encouraged to sing girly songs, and that actually worked really well for my social transition. While aged poorly, the second tip actually is very useful. Typically, both masculine and feminine voices kind of differ in intonation a little bit. However, a lot of people in the gay community happen to have a bit more overlap with these intonation structures. So as a result, what we would have referred to back then as the stereotypical flamboyant gay male voice, that's just a stereotypical feminine intonation applied to a masculine voice. The reason this is helpful is you have kind of a auditory example of what that sounds like in isolation. Just bear in mind, this is just what I did when I was 12. I wouldn't exactly say this is an efficient way to voice train, but if it works for you, then cool, right? However, I don't want this technique to undermine our gender identities. Hey, trans women are women, just to be clear. So eventually I found this video. I'll be real, I thought it was fake. I just remember this particular video popping up and making me go, oh wait, you can do that? It made me realize that you could change the voice very dramatically. I'm sorry for thinking your video wasn't real. I actually thought it was a voice changer, my bad. In my late teens, I started socially transitioning more. I would go to the shops or friends' houses while dressed in girls' clothes. I was even gifted skins in League of Legends because I started being a girl, right? So I knew I had to take my voice to the next level. So this era is when I got introduced to Zoe Alexandria and trans voice lessons. So you might be familiar with these two channels right here. I found these pretty useful early in my transition. However, some of the terminology I found a little complicated for me personally, so I didn't get too much out of it. However, it made a really big difference in early parts of my transition, and I'll always be thankful for that. And here's my voice at this point.
So it doesn't directly index the speaker's gender. These specific speech patterns are influenced by more social context.
So where to go from here exactly? Well, where else? VR chat trolling videos. For whatever reason at that time, I thought going from a super cute girl voice to a super masculine voice was the coolest thing ever. And I still do. However, around this time, I was getting super into these various voice trolling videos. They were super big deals for just my general confidence to go ahead and learn this, right? This is when I locked in. This lovely audience is the Great Pug, a bar and VR chat where people gathered and spoke. Me though, I was here in 2019 to practice my girl voice for the first time. However, as you can imagine based on the music, it didn't go very well. Now, here's the scene. I was right here in a cute Hatsune Miku avatar. I used my girl voice for two people standing right here. And, well, it didn't work. At all. I admit, I felt a bit discouraged. And I nearly quit. I mean, what did it matter that I did a girl voice, quote-unquote, poorly? What mattered is that as I was getting better at speaking more girly, I was feeling more myself. As a result, I didn't give up, thankfully. Thanks to that perseverance, I kept trying. However, one event that happened soon after, now that was the catalyst. For our next scene, I'm going to take you somewhere else that meant a lot to me in VR chat. Welcome to Japan, Shrine, lovely audience. In the year 2020, I spent almost every night chilling here, learning Japanese, chatting with all sorts of people. It was great. However, most relevant to this video was one particular night when someone standing right here said the most vile, transphobic nonsense I've ever heard in my life. And this sparked something within me. It changed something within my heart. I knew that I wanted to get really good at doing a girl voice. In spite. Now I know what you're thinking, isn't spite a bad reason to learn something? And yeah, it is. However, it's what I did. Unfortunately, that night, lovely audience, I was crying. I was really upset about it, and I wanted to do something about it. So thus, I did the next step. I contacted a professional speech pathologist. When I saw a professional speech pathologist, I was really nervous, I admit, and it kind of absolutely destroyed my wallet. However, I can say it was absolutely worth it. I got help with stuff like resonance, pitch, soft palates, pharynx, all this stuff, and I even found out that I breathed wrong. Turns out I did a thing called paradoxal breathing, and I was able to have that corrected without even knowing it was an issue in the first place. It's just nice to have someone go through it slowly and make it all make sense, you know? Now here's an example of what I roughly sounded like at the time.
Sorry to intrude on the potty. Me and my partner will take it from... Wait. Where's the evil mafia people?
Now as you can imagine, that's not perfect. However, it was a big improvement from what I had before, and with some little adjustments, we ended up with the voice we had today. Now, how did I get from that point to now? Well, that was just practice, really. I think you can say profound things that make a good YouTube video. However, at the end of the day, the most important thing is when you get the voice exercise, to just do it as much as you can, right? In tiny little chunks. When I was taught by a speech pathologist to practice for 1 to 2 minutes and then wait an hour, then practice for another 1 to 2 minutes, and building that habit, I found really dramatic improvements. It's really just about doing it over and over and over and getting trial and error. I think when we see voice tutorials on the internet by either me or other people, it kind of projects this idea that there's just trans people that just magically know how to do their voice already. That's not the case. When I started, it felt hopeless, and people would often tell me to give up, right? It's just a case of you just gotta practice. It's really just that, to be honest with you. Just find exercises that help and just gradually get better at them. If you don't know what exercises you might want to do, I have voice tutorials of certain ones, and you can check out other people too. But most importantly, if you have access to it, a speech pathologist can guide you in the perfectly right direction. With that all said, that was my little history of my own trans voice journey. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit the funny subscribe button as we do weekly trans content, both VR me and IRL me. We do dance streams too. We have a lot of fun. As always, stay hydrated and know that you are valid. I'll see you next week.
Just filming my legs. And I don't know if my voice is different, if my hair's different, if this room's different. So it doesn't directly index the speaker's gender, these specific speech patterns are like...
For Fairy Princess Lucy, all 3 words are capitalized, the rest lowercase. And today's date is 9:23 AM. And it's the 14th of April, and it is in fact 2021. Nervous as all heck, but I'll do my best.
Maybe even if someone misgendered you. Which, if that's the case, I'm really sorry. You don't deserve that.
Oh, let's hear it. Let's say go. Bumpin'.
Sorry to intrude on the potty. Me and my partner will take it from... Wait. Where's the evil mafia people?
I remember my friends back in high school told me, of course very politely, that I could never achieve a girl voice, and I think I proved them wrong. Other than that, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more trans-related content every week, feel free to hit the funny subscribe button, the like button, and leave a funny little comment. And I hope you join me for a future video. Stay hydrated and know that you are valid.